GM everyone. We have a special episode today for the Touch Grass podcast. This is going to be like a very new format for us as well. Like we usually have on guests talk about one particular thing and different topics and stuff. But today we have like a weekly roundup with Hamza and Ishan. And we just want to run through what's happening in the markets and share takes from some of the experts in the industry. And yeah, welcome to the show, guys.
Glad to be on, man.
Awesome. So I just want to kind of kickstart by mainly talking about markets in general, and then we can kind of go into depth with each thing we have on the agenda. And yeah, I mean, we just blew past all-time highs. That was kind of very crazy to see. And right now, Bitcoin's at 107.5K, and 2000, and ETH is at 2000, 2600. Sol is struggling. Hyperliquid just hit an all-time high. And from my point of view, I think everyone is kind of expecting like a summer lull kind of period. Uh, but I just feel like everything ran so hard, like some of the majors and all this. We're just consolidating again, and our beloved fat coin is also struggling a bit. And it's like the best risk on indicator, right? Like if it's running and everything is kind of going well, and some of the other tokens that are doing well are Kaito and virtuals and all these uh, green tokens that are running. I think everyone should kind of just shift their strategy to that. But why don't we start here? Like, what do you think about the market right now? Where's that as you are entering this summer period, and then we can kind of kick start with our topics.
Yeah, I tweeted something about this maybe like a week and a half ago. I'm having trouble figuring out where the marginal bid on Bitcoin is going. Like, who is top blasting, right? Like, previously, and I think the reason is like number bias mostly. Like who retail used to come in and top blast when we would hit 3K, we would hit 10K, we would hit 20K. Retail would get FOMO, they would FOMO in. I find it pretty hard to believe that retail's going to FOMO in and top blast over 100K. And so then the question, and you need Bitcoin to run for us to get alt season, and I think like Bitcoin's going to run, and then alt theoretically run more, and then BTC Dom goes down. But over the past couple of weeks, it's like Bitcoin's running, then everything is running, and I just have trouble identifying where the marginal bit is going to come from. Is it just going to keep like I can't imagine that like rational Michael Saylor derivatives are just going to keep top blasting. Obviously, it makes way more sense to let the price run down a little bit, raise equity, and then go and buy more Bitcoin. I think these guys are too smart to just keep top blasting. So then, where is the top blast bid going to come from? I can't figure that out. Where is that nominal bid come from? And so that's why I'm like, I'm kind of staying around, but I'm not overly allocated by any means.
Yeah, I think one of the, I think this is like a kind of pivot point where ETH starts kind of outperforming, and that kind of carries the alt market. But Hamza, what do you think?
Oh, um, on the market,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Like I think I knew what was going to happen a month ago. Like I was pretty certain. Like I was buying. I was like nine. I was over allocated. Like I was borrowing on our way and like buying everything around. Like so, for me, I think last month was a very good month personally, because pre-Trump I was allocated. I was like 50% in, 60% in pre-tariff. I mean, and when I saw that chart, like I was like max selling everything. Like fuck this shit. This is done. And 3 days in, when we had like the biggest drawdown ever in history, for 100 years, like stock market, and then I was like, yeah, this shit. Okay, I think we are overreacting to tariffs, and when Twitter becomes macro specialist, and we're like, fuck Twitter. Like that's like my head, and that's why I've stopped being on Twitter, and I think that has
People
been very
who
helpful.
people who've been trading shitters, 10K shitters, are tuning into forward guidance and learning about
Yeah, 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 yeah.
tariffs. They're learning about yield curves and whatnot. So yeah, 100%.
So that kind of stuff, like I was totally like just buying BTC and hype around that. and that's it. Like I didn't do anything, and I was just borrowing against my BTC to buy hype. Like that was my logic. But now, like until 2, 3, 4 days ago, I was pretty bullish. But I think like now I'm like 30% allocated or 35% allocated, and I'm short. So like I was short BTC from 110, and I'm still holding all of my shorts. Like I still
So
believe.
you're net short in the portfolio right now.
No, no, not net, not net. No, I would never be net short. I am not that person. Like, just to like hedge on like the other 30%, I was because I have never made money shorting, but I think this time I was like, everyone is just going too crazy, and you have Meta Planet, you have MSTR, you have all of this shit coming, and then its price is still not going above 110K. So I've traded like BTC all the way up with leverage. It's pretty good. But on the other side, like I don't see where these things go from now. So like I'm just an observer of the market now.
Yeah, I think one of the main reasons to have that view is that in the last week itself, like there have been so many announcements that they have bought 2 billion of Bitcoin, GameStop 500 million, and all these companies are announcing these public vehicles. And you would see like usually when all-time high breaks happen, they're so violent that people just can't wait. Like the FOMO kicks in, it's just instant rip of another 10% or something like that. We just didn't see that. And uh, I mean, I'm still bullish. I think like I don't think we're gonna have like another summer period where nothing happens for 4 months and we just buy the Labor Day on September and we have another run. uh, but also, I think this kind of a good segue to the new public vehicles. What do you guys think about these companies following the Michael Saylor strategy? We have seen over the last this week where this gaming company just out of the blue just they announced that they're acquiring, I don't know, 545 million ETH. The stock went up 8x in a day, I think, from $5 or $3 to $40. So what do you guys think about these public players taking on insane amount of kind of leverage and shooting up their equity stock? And one angle I want to kind of get into is the VC angle. Is this like a VC play where VCs are, we have seen so many funds not, perform that well. They didn't outperform Bitcoin, but this is their kind of market where they can allocate to this kind of strategy and they're running up on stocks. And on the retail side, should the DGens start paying attention to the stock market?
Yeah, I think for some things it makes sense, right? Like so for Bitcoin, I think it makes a ton of sense because it's just like game theory, right? Of like, minimal supply, how much supply is on the market, can we take more supply off the market? I think inevitably these like secondary, tertiary, like I think an XRP vehicle is fucking stupid because they hold so much of the supply. It just makes no sense because your counterpart, you can't trust your counterparty that you're trading against because they've historically all they've done is just dump on the market, right? I think an ETH strategy makes a little more sense because I think when you add the yield that you get from staking on top of the yield that you get from the convertible bond, I think that makes a pretty interesting product without the need for rehypothecation. So it's like, pretty good yield, adds extra yield, but like I think ETH is more or less like a cursed asset. So like I don't think it's going to do much there. And so I think the only thing that makes sense is Bitcoin. And I think it's going to get really interesting if this leads to like more nation states. Like if nation states, right? Like you heard like Pakistan do it, right? Pakistan is doing it. That's wild. And then you have like, Bhutan and you have, El Salvador. And if you get like 2 or 3 or 4 more of these countries that start doing it along with transnational corporations, then shit gets crazy, right? And then it's like Bitcoin wars and, you start to see like who's, again, the question is who is top blasting, right? Like who is buying over 100K? Who is that marginal buyer? If it's nation states, okay, shit's going to get crazy. We're going to hit 200, 250, like 300 really, really quick. If it's not, like maybe it's transnational corporations like Tesla that are just going to hold Bitcoin on the balance sheet, sure. But I'd have to, I don't feel confident that I know exactly which way that's going to go, which is why I don't really feel like touching Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's kind of like some of these majors they're having these strategies of, I think even Sol strategies, they have announced 2.5 billion of buying Sol. And I think the DeFi investment, the public vehicle, is also up like 4x in the last month. So I think these bets, if you see the trend early on, I think you could have allocated. But
Yeah,
on the
let me hop in there because you brought up the Soul one. Hamza, what do you think about the Soul strategy playbook? Because I think with the same like yield aspect, it's like, hey, Soul yields more than ETH, but a lot of it is just, and you probably can speak to this better than me, is just like inflation that's given to incentivize validators to run, to run nodes. And so it seems like that's like a pretty easy one that's going to get unraveled really quickly. Like it seems like on face, yes, the yield makes sense for a Sol strategy, but on the back end, it's like, okay, where does that yield actually come from? It's literally just inflation to to like incentivize and keep validators going. It seems like that one's like pretty easy to unravel. I don't know. What do you think?
To be honest, I don't give a fuck because someone told me about that 2 months ago that this is going to happen, and I faded it, and I'm kind of pissed about that. So yeah, I'm really like, fucking pissed
But it
about it.
hasn't really impacted
Yeah.
price though, right? Like it's not even like it's
Oh,
not like it's
you want my contrarian opinion? I think Sol ETH is going to go down,
Oh,
and Sol BTC is going to go down. Sol is the next ETH in terms of like price action. So I just don't care about Sol. I 10x one of my wallets trading all this launch coin shitters, and I cashed out and I don't give a fuck. That's the honest answer.
well, why do you think that, right? Do you think the ecosystem is going to stagnate? Do you think there's
Yeah.
too many marginal
Yeah.
sellers from
Okay.
the lock
Let
tokens?
me let me let me ask you this: What like BAYC was the top for ETH or merge or BAYC, whatever you want to call, whichever time horizon you want to look at. What can be bigger than the Trump token for any fucking ecosystem? There can literally be nothing.
This
It
is
is
this is the
impossible.
Aiden Ross thesis, right? This is the Aiden
Ah,
Ross said this,
like
right? Like, oh,
yeah,
ETH and NFTs taxed,
like
right? That's what
what
made
can
Bitcoin,
be
right?
yeah like I haven't watched that, but like I've seen one clip. So yeah, I you're right. So like literally the and Sol BTC, and it's interesting if you look at the Sol BTC chart. When Trump token launched, it spiked up. It did not break the previous all-time high, which was 24 first quarter, and it did not break that. And it went down only from there. It's down 50%. And I told this Sol maxi chat of mine, they're like, in the start of May, that ETH will outperform. And I have this screenshot also. I have this written, although I did not make any money on that particular trade, but I have it like I was sure that ETH is going to outperform the day Vitalik posts that Petra and all of those things like his blog. I was fucking certain that ETH is going to outperform Sol, and from there, I think Sol ETH is down 25 or 30%. And I don't know how long it will go down, but I'm pretty certain that Sol is the most overbought asset of this like of right now. I don't know how it will go
yeah,
from 3 4 months, but right now, yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing I would add there is at least just why did even Soul go up so much, right? They had because of this insane meme run where every week we had these 100 million runners, 500 million runners, like so many billion runners. And right now, a new coin that is so hyped can't even get past 50 million, even though the entire timeline is talking about it. All these big cables are pushing it, like all these big, they're interested, they have all this marketing hype. It still can't push past 50 million. And one of the reasons everyone is rooting for this launch coin to go up is it has a narrative, it has the Ponzinomics, flywheel, whatever you want to call it. That's why people are still hopeful that the trenches to survive and the meta to survive, they need something like this to run. And right now, the Soul trenches are cooked, in my opinion. If you compare it to Avalanche, I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but Avalanche trenches are cooking. I don't know what they're doing there, but uh, so we have these new memes. They are running fast, and even on the abstract, not on the level, but very interesting. And I think that's one of the main reasons where the meme season is like as it was in last year is done. That's why I think probably in the midterm or even the long term, Solana is good.
Yeah, like 6 months ago, 6 months ago, Launchcoin would have been billion
A
and a
billion.
half easily, right? Goon would have hit, at least 100, if
Few
not
late
like
late nine figures. Yeah. Late, I
yeah,
think
like
it would have like 200-300. Yeah, easy.
easily,
I
right?
traded all of them right now. I traded all of them right now, and you can look at the chart, and you can tell you like the wicks that go, like that doesn't make sense, and that's why like I think it's minus EV for unless you are like insider or a MEV or sort of bundler or some shit like that. I think it, I think it's like the same 2022, late 22, or you had like all those NFTs. I can't remember there was those there was this NFT collection that used to come on Twitter and just be zombies like hooning on. You remember those green colored shit? I forgot what was it called. Like it was like after BAYC, there was a long tail of like shit NFTs
Dead
that
fellas or
that just
something
came,
like
and I think
that.
it's the same.
Yeah.
No, not that fellow. There was this some weird.
It's like
They just
this
used to talk
Halloween
gibberish on.
Halloween theme, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Halloween theme.
yeah, yes, something like that, and they just used to come and do that, and I think it's the same like long tail of memes which just everyone is like, oh, this is culture and art, and like, fuck off. It's just like
So,
that.
do you guys think that meme coins die out, or would they go to another ecosystem?
No,
What happens to the meme coin ecosystem now? Like, it's
no.
just dead.
Yeah, that I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see what happens there. I think some of that would move to Hyperliquid. We are seeing early stages of that. I don't know
I
who
think
wins. I don't know if it is
have you
going to be.
seen have you seen upside? I think something like I think the meme coin ecosystem needs more structure, because it's basic. Like if you can pick the right meme but pick the wrong token because there's four of them or five
Ah,
of them, that makes no sense, right? That's like a fucked up casino, right? So I think things like Upside, which is like Zach Dash's project, I think stuff like that's interesting, where they're basically making like a meta link that is a token for every link on the internet, and that link connects to a tweet, that link connects to a meme that someone posted, and it creates that originality. And so it's almost like rules and a structure and a set around the casino. I think that is going to be interesting, which is the same reason why like you can have like culture coins like Bowden, but then like compare Bowden volume to like Polymarket presidential volume, right? Because you have a set of rules around the casino, right? I think the
Yeah.
Polymarket type of structure where we're adding like infrastructure and it's like everybody's playing by the same rules, that is probably where I see meme coins going and like value creation going in that category, rather than right now where it's like one new thing happens, like Taco comes out, right? Like the Trump chicken out trade, and then like there's like 10 memes about Taco, and now you not only do you have to nail the meme, but you have to nail the right token within the meme. And so now it's like not only do you have like a small chance of hitting the meme, but now you're playing 1 out of 10 chance out of that. You have like a 3 or 4% chance of hitting it. That doesn't make sense, right? But if you actually had like an equal fair shot because everyone's playing the same game in the same rules, again similar to Polymarket, I think that makes a lot of sense.
So,
Yeah,
you
I'm
think it's
just
like a launchpad problem then? Like, you think the launch pads need to be changed to, like, do you think the Fjord curator model would make sense here, where it's like, and okay, well, like Ansem is launching a coin and he's associated with that coin. Is it more like a launchpad problem, or do you
I
think it's
don't
like
think
we
that
all need to
works.
sell on
I
the
don't
same
think the
rope?
Fjord model works either because there's just too
yeah.
diverse of incentives, right? It's like, when you tie an individual person to a coin, I mean, you definitely need that, right? Like you saw what's his name, Jingtao with King, right? It's like that type of stuff makes sense where you have a guy that's shilling it, but if you have it at the curator level, it's just like, oh, this guy's pumping and dumping on me, and like the creators aren't properly incentivized enough to do that. They'd rather just pick a coin and adopt it rather than make the coin themselves.
Yeah, 100%. I think Upside is pretty cool. I'm just waiting for my invite code.
I'll get you an
I think awesome. Before we kind of dive into the Hyperliquid, Hamza, I had like a question for you. We talked about these public investment vehicles. Are you guys even focusing or other funds focusing? Because there's just so much upside as these companies launch these, Bitcoin, Sol, or ETH vehicles. I mean, not talking about like, even the XRP stuff, but are you, I guess, focusing on the stock side of things, allocating because there's so much upside in such a short window?
yeah, we had something in mind for the soul thing. It just slipped my mind because of the whole tariff thing, and then after that we just changed our strategy. I personally bought a lot of like stocks on around like that time, but it just slipped my mind. So like I don't know if you have an edge over there. I'll probably have to go back to New York to to be with the Wall Street guys again. But of course we can do whatever like because it's we don't have any outside money. But yeah, I just don't have anything right now.
I think KG,
Got it.
that I do want to mention, one thing that I've been thinking a lot about last week is what if we actually had like imagine a 400 to 500 CMC coin that's dead, doesn't have mindshare. They announce on crypto Twitter that they're going to buy hype on their balance sheet. Would that have the same effect as these stocks buying Bitcoin or ETH? You think it just goes hyperbolic? Is that
Oh
also a
yeah.
strategy?
Oh, 100%, 100%. If any like illiquid KuCoin listed shitter, or even they need hype for their balance lending for their balance sheet, ping me. I'll be happy to lend you some of my hype for you to keep it on your balance sheet, and then I own some part of your balance sheet or some part of your coin, and then you send it.
Yeah.
But that's a retarded way of thinking. Yeah, that is a nice idea. I'm down.
Yeah, it's like true up only tech. Also, I think we finally talked about enough of the BTC Infinite bit, but let's dive into like Hyperliquid, HyperEVM, this James guy. Uh, Hamza, you posted I think recently that your 2023 blog post on comparing Hyperliquid to DYDX or the next DYDX of this cycle. How much of your expectations have been met by Hyperliquid? And obviously they exceeded. It's just up only. But where do you see us go from here? Not just in terms of price, but ecosystem wise. Yeah,
Like I don't know about price. I don't really mention about that. I think, um, I mean, it has been crazy. Like I've never thought of when we posted about it. I mean, I think it just goes to show that sometimes you just have to have good taste, good timing, and not even like great. Like you don't need to be great. Like I think at these things, you just have to be like certain, just observant. And I think because I missed the whole DYDX thing because I joined crypto late. A lot of my friends had like big airdrops from DYDX. And then I was like, Hyperliquid order book. Okay, this makes sense. And we were with the team. There was a small, like a cafe like this. There was a small, like 10 or 12 people were sitting at the Hyperliquid event in Singapore, October 23 or September or October. October, I think. Yeah, we just like Kleepak. I had just set up the license and everything. So like, and after when we came back from it, that was the first trade we took from the. So like, yeah, I mean, it's been insane to think. I think it just goes. I think if you think, and people have started to like think about it now, is like why do you build a chain? Like, firstly, like I was speaking with some of the big traditional investors here in Dubai, and they're speaking with Monad or Mega Leap or all these like big L1s, and they're like, why are you building all of this tech for your tokens, and then you give out your tokens to projects that build on you, and then you give them cash, and then you give them grants, and then you give them LM liquidity mining. Like, why not enshrine this up? And I think enshrine all this in the L1. And I think this is like a whole change of what do you call it? Like psychology or like zero to one
Window.
thinking of like like everything is like rethinking the whole designing of an L1 kind of a thing. And we've always like even throughout this what do you call it, like the whole run of Hyperliquid, we believe it's like it has a decent. So for me, flippening is a very different meaning. So like soul, in my mind, soul has flipped each. Like the mind share is what flippening means, not the actual flippening. Like it's like an options trade. You bet on people thinking that it has flipped, not the fact that it actually flips. So I think Hyperliquid has a decent chance of actually flipping BNB. Not actually flipping. I mean, like in terms of like going that route. And like Hyperliquid OI is like what 30% now, and with all these James Wynn and multiple characters, I'm sure there'll be multiple characters like this down the line. Like it's like Game of Thrones. There will be many. You had Joffrey, then you had Ramsay, then you had God knows who, Night King. In the end, I just tweeted about that. Like, don't be the main character. With crypto is like a Game of Thrones. You don't be the main character. Be Tyrion. You're gonna be to the end. So I think it's just like why like it already flipped OKX. It's like 40-50% of Bybit and 30% of Binance or 40% of Binance. I think it goes to like 80, 70, 80% if not flip. If actually flips, then that's pretty insane. And I think what we are also seeing on the political side, which I've started to like notice just 2-3 days ago, was how this perps the discussion of perps actually being allowed for retail. That is a fucking insane thing. Like I have to still look into it because I was traveling in between and all. I still have to look into it, and I think if licensed KYC apps are built on top of Hyperliquid with HIP3 and all of these things, like that is insane. And I think it could be the same. I was telling this to someone. I have not spoken publicly or like literally anywhere about this. I just spoke with one person about this idea. Like I still have to like research more about this. Is that how Robinhood changed the whole zero fees payment for order flow model after payment for order flow became legal because it was illegal for a long time. I still have to like research about it. Like it's just an idea in my mind. And if Hyperliquid and this Congress, not Hyperliquid, like forget Hyperliquid, like the macro backdrop which is happening right now for perps in the US, if that happens, then like I don't even know like what's the ceiling going to be. Like it could legitimately flip like BNB. Like then I don't know. That's a very uncharted territory we are entering. So I'm gonna follow the macro part, political macro part from here.
I think that makes a lot of sense. One thing I've been thinking about in that same vein is I think Hyperliquid might be the last great CT trade, where it's just like it's consensus, everybody agrees, they see it, it's happening, and then like everybody follows along, and like you get the awesome airdrop and the run up and the crazy appreciation and the blow off top, and it's like a product everybody loves and uses. I think this might be like the last great version of
I
that.
don't know about the last. I don't know about the last CT one, but I think it could be the last L1. More
Yeah.
than I think it could be the last L1, legitimate L1, like not legitimate, but like
Yeah, so
a big.
if it's the last L1, it's got to be the last one that gets to potential like 100 billion, maybe hundreds of billion plus. Like I don't see like an awesome DApp like an Aave can get to a few billion, right? Even what today's Aave is like what 2 or 3 billion. You can get to a few billion. Where is the next trade that's going to come from? And I agree with you. It's going to inspire a lot of applications and ecosystems, right? Like I can see an L1 that builds its own game, like canonical game on the chain, and that is like the interoperable game and has all the
But we have
pieces.
seen that. We have seen all that last cycle. We have seen
The
gaming
true
L1s and all.
L1, right? But I think what we haven't seen is we haven't
But
seen the
like
canonical stuff, right? Where it's
no, but like gaming is not with gaming. You do not need everything to be on chain. You can do 90%, 95% of the shit off chain. With trading, you need everything on chain for it to have like a proper accounting, settlement, and whatnot. Like trading is the biggest use case of crypto, and I think everyone unanimously can agree with that.
100%.
I
And
think
it's
no, go for guys.
So what I was going to say is I agree with you, but if you think about a PvP style gaming, also I'm not a huge gaming guy by any means, but if it is a PvP style gaming, it has to be, and it's zero sum, right? The reason why trading has to happen all on chain is because it's zero sum, right? One person opens, one person closes. Everything has to match, right? And so I think like the ultimate version of crypto gaming needs to be PvP, where it's zero sum, and it has to be one person wins, one person loses, like this like kind of positive sum, everybody wins, like shit doesn't work. And so if that is to happen, you have to have it canonically at the L1, and I think that's the only application that I can see that could potentially be like Hyperliquid level, right? Like if you had Ronin plus Axie at the same time at its peak, I can see a tens of billions of dollar application there, and then other people come and build too, and then you get like the HyperEVM thing. I don't see many other applications that can do something similar to that, which is why I think
Yeah.
again, like,
I'm
the last big trade, like the last big, consensus CT trade. Everyone's in on it. Everyone's doing it. Everyone's riding it together. I think it might be just like the last one. Like we'll have other ones, but they won't be nearly the size, the scale. Like open at 2 billion and run up to whatever 35 billion, potentially run up to 100 billion. Like I don't think we see many of these again.
But one thing that I would just add in there, I've actually heard people make more money off virtuals this cycle than Hyperliquid. Like apart from the people who are early in on Hyperliquid, like Hamza, who were farming since way back, they got a big airdrop and they're holding their bag. Like funds have actually made over 100x on virtuals, and they've been calling that the trade of the cycle.
Believe sat at 1 million for so long. For months, it sat at 1 million, right? And then runs up to 200 million, right? It's not to say that on a nominal basis there would not be bigger winners, but I think it's like those are like Believe was not a consensus trade. Everybody was not in on Believe until Believe started running and went 6x overnight, right? Virtuals was not a consensus trade at all. Came out of nowhere, right? Hyperliquid was the consensus trade. Everybody was in on it. And the other thing is you can't get size, right? Like you can't get size on, you couldn't get size on Launchcoin. You couldn't get size on virtuals. You could on day one, you could get size on Hyperliquid, right? Because it opens at 2 billion, 4 billion, whatever. There's not many places where you can get size, right? Like you can't scale in $10 million to 1 million shitter, right? You're just going to lose everything, right? You can only scale in size into Launchcoin. By the time it was already 150 million, by the time you could size into it. Where are those big consensus trades that you can full port size into 7-8 figures? That's a dying breed.
Yeah, I think every time I'm reminded of the launch coin stuff, it always breaks my heart because I was seeing that thing at like 500 or 600K, and I was like, Nikita is suddenly supporting this. What's up? And I was fading it because the guy like the first app didn't work. He's coming to again as extract or something, and then in a week it ran up to 300 million. So that is again another fumbles. But I want to talk about spot, Hamza. I have this stat in front of me that says Hype currently trades at a market cap of 11 billion with 4% market share of the perps volume, and it's a multiple of 13.3. And I don't. That's all perps, right? But I think Binance does and makes more money and on spot and just dominates on spot volumes. What do you think happens as a Hyperliquid enables more listings of spot pairings, and how rapid do you think that happens? Right now, I feel like it's very slow.
No, I agree. I think the next big unlock for Hype is people need to start focusing on the spot side of things. On unit, I mean, like I've started to like market make personally on a bunch of like assets, the BTC and FAT, because they're the most liquid there. We ran a few market making strategies on BTC and FAT over there. I think it is pretty important because it allows basis trade, it allows arbitrage, it allows everything inside Hype. So like BTC, you can short, perp, and long spot, or either way for any asset. I think it just goes. I think the next big unlock for Hype, especially, comes from spot, and of course EVM. But I have this weird thing is like they should have baked in the spot thing in the protocol in Hyperliquid, because now you have an external dependency on some other team. They might be great and all, like they're pretty good, whatnot, but like um, if they, but I don't know, like what was the logic behind that? So like I'm not sure. But I think the next thing for Hype is especially like the EVM. Like I use EVM more than any chain right now. And even more than Solana, especially for Felix, Kitten Swap, whatnot, all the things. And I think it's like there's the same thing with BSC. Like we wrote about it. I think early 24 was like, early this year was that it's like BSC. It's like when Pancake Swap went to like I don't know how much it was, but like whatever. So like, but I do also think like I do think like the next wave of apps that can be built will be genuinely crazy on Hyperliquid because of the HIP3, which allows you to build perps on top of like the big liquidity, which is AWS, like all the compute of liquidity that you have, and you can build the next Robinhood or build the next Klarna or like whatever fintech app you want to build on top of that. So I think that's like the next big unlock. And even Unit right now, Unit has like about 500 mil or 450 mil of assets, which is pretty crazy to think about. I have
Yeah.
most of my BTC via Unit, so like
Another thing
I think
that
that's the next unlock.
Yeah, another thing I want to kind of highlight is just using some more data where it just says Hyperliquid did $20 billion a week this month, and they did over 100 billion the week of May 19th, and that's over 80 billion, which is just insane. And another, I don't know, like this can be, I don't know how it affects it, but they're also increasing leverage to some of the pairings to 10x. I think I don't know when it's happening, maybe the end of this month or so. I think that will also kind of make a big impact on volumes, again their fees, again the return on the HLB vault thing. Uh, Also, like, how are you guys, Ishan and Hamza, how are you guys positioning for the next wave of incentives for the Hyper EVM? Like one of the things that for me was like, whenever everyone was writing farming threads, I was like, this has to be the top for Hype. Uh,
Yeah, I did
everyone,
sell.
like all the
I did sell a bunch at 39, 38. So like, sorry for hype. Whatever believers and these guys, like I sold 30, 40% off. Like I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this shit. Like that was definitely the top.
yeah.
Yeah, I think Hyper EVM is really interesting. I'm still waiting for like really cool applications. Like I'm like begging for someone to build options. So, like if you're building options, like I will invest. I will give you whatever amount of money to build options that settle using like I don't know using the futures or like settle with spot with Hyper Unit. Like I think an options protocol is gonna do super fucking well on the Hyper EVM. As far as like farming it, I don't think it's gonna be like exclusively Hyper EVM based. I think it's just gonna be like because you would want to incentivize the thing that makes you the most money, and what makes them the most money? It's using core. And so then I still think they're going to continue to incentivize core. And I imagine like maybe they'll allocate some to builders on the Hyper EVM because again, that's like what makes sense, right? Like these guys are very like like Jeff and the team are like incredible like first principles thinkers, right? So they're not like, oh, this protocol did this protocol did that, CT says this, like they don't give a fuck, right? They're just like first principles, what makes sense? Okay, so like let's think about this from a first principles perspective, right? What are the two things that they want to do most? Is like one, they want to drive more volume to hypercore. They want more users, more volume, more leverage, more trading on hypercore. And two, they want to incentivize people to build unique shit on hyper EVM, right? So I think it makes sense for those two things to be, most influenced or like, the highest viability for those two to be compensated. And then obviously like, yeah, I'm sure a little bit's going to go to hyper EVM users, right? They want more people. If you have more users on the hyper EVM, then more people are going to build cool shit and vice versa, right? If you have more cool shit, more people are going to use it. So I do think both of those are going to be incentivized for sure, but I still think it's like a majority is just going to go to hypercore users. And honestly, I don't even think they should do it. I think they should like hot take. Like I think they should just burn that shit. Just fucking burn a third of the supply and just like destroy it. And now like watch this thing go to like think about if you took a third of the supply right now and just straight burned it. What that's going to take it to like it's like let's say it's $30 right now, so that's like what a 30 billion valuation. You take it down to like a 20 billion valuation because you burn a third of it. That's going to be fucking fireworks. And at the end of
I'm
the day,
not a big
that's
fan of.
I don't think they'll do it, but I think that would be like the most
Yeah,
pleasant thing to do.
I don't like. I never liked the burning part of it. I think it's like if you have a valuable product or an asset, like why do you burn it? Like you don't burn gold. You don't burn. You don't hear Satya Nadella talk about burning or whatever, diluting MSFT stock. Like I think that's pretty retarded crypto thing to think about. But
So
like
what do you think they do with all the
things
buyback?
grow.
They buy
So
back
like
and
I
they
think
on it. They incentivize with
so.
it. They do other airdrops.
I mean, of course, like what you said, I agree firstly with the first part with all you said. In my opinion, they should not even do a fucking airdrop. Like, I think it's just a good way to put a community airdrop thing, and just like, I think it's now there are just people focused on farming. Like, I don't farm anything. Like, as a user, I'm just like, what I did on Felix initially was, I was just like, put all my BTC there and just borrowing a few USD and buying hype and putting it back, buying hype under the whole late teens and 15, 16, 19 through 19. Like I was just growing my hype stack, and now like I'm like it's pretty down. My liquidation is like $8 or $9 or some shit like that. So like I and you use the protocol. You don't farm the protocol. And these guys are like, imagine a team that has given by far multiples higher airdrop than anything. They can't kick your addresses out for you to farm. Like, don't you think they can identify your addresses for you that you're farming? I think that's pretty stupid crypto Twitter
Yeah.
thing. I think you just use the product, you use it as you like, as you if you want to make money. There are innumerable ways to make money, market making, arbitrage, whatever the fuck. Don't farm it. That's the most stupid thing. I don't think. I don't know how they're gonna do with the community airdrop thing. I think yeah, I agree that the builders like similar like Arbitrum styled app native app stuff. I think that makes sense. I don't know or some like spot builders or something like that. But I think it could be interesting for HIP3. I think they're just going to slowly dilute over time for like HIP3 grant or something for future builders or hackathons or some shit like that. Like, I don't know. So I would just recommend. My only recommendation is
Yeah.
don't farm.
Yeah, I agree. I think all these farming guides are. That's when I was like, no way you're just gonna read this guide or something and go do it step by step. It's like go use the product. Like I think all of us, like most of our money is sitting on Hyperliquid right now, and for us, like we use the perps. Some of our money is probably in the HLP, and you can just take out a loan, use Hyperunit. What I've been doing is sending all my soul to Hyperunit and like say like holding there. I think that's a good strategy. Is send all your majors, ETH, Hype, BTC there. Sorry, not Hype and Soul there. I think that's how. I mean, you don't want to farm, but just do these organic things, and because actually using the protocol, I think that can be. I don't think that they should kind of announce there should be a leaderboard or something like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. The next thing before we move on from Hyperliquid is what do you guys think about this James guy? What's this character about? Like, is this like the next big main character of this cycle? Like, what do you guys think? Like, let me just share the screen. Like,
KG,
I,
KG's
isn't
already in his
isn't he
DMs trying to get him as a
isn't he
KOL.
down?
Uh,
Isn't he down already from where he started?
yeah,
he's
he
redone.
I think
lost
he's down.
he lost
I think he's
he
three
lost
four men
80
down.
he lost $87 million in a week. Uh, he was slinging 1 billion positions on a Sunday $2,000 range, and he lost $50 million. And I think me and Ishan were talking like we should root for this guy to win. We want to see this guy make I don't know how make 100% on $1 billion position, and everything goes back to Hyperliquid and all. And within a week, this guy is almost zeroed out. What do you guys think like drives this kind of insane tilt on behavior? Yeah, just what are your thoughts on this James Wynn guy who slings 1 billion positions while shilling Moonpig on the side?
I think he's a
Yeah,
gambling
like I
addict.
said, don't be the main character.
Yeah.
You'll get killed by like Rob Stark or Tywin Lannister or whatever. Don't
Did
be
you
main
did
character.
you guys see did you guys see Gord's tweet where the account was like this guy's short on drift and he's hedged on
No, that's a
other
joke.
platforms?
That
No,
was,
I know. Like, but
that
Hamza,
was
if
hilarious though. That was hilarious.
theoretically, theoretically, if you did want to do that, like, how would you hedge that position? Could
I don't
you?
think you can hedge it anyway. You could, of course, you can open it on
You
Binance.
can.
That's the only place.
Maybe on a
Of course, you
sex,
can.
maybe on Binance or Coinbase, but like nowhere
Yeah,
else
of
can you
course.
have
Binance.
liquidity.
No one else. But I was asking in this whale hyperliquid chat of ours, like I was asking a few people, and they're like, no, he's too retarded to short. Like the way he opens his closes his trades, there's no way he's hedged or whatever. Like he's as like we have seen many people like this, like Alex Rice. We have seen many cases like this over the course of like many years. Like yeah, this is it's fucking crazy.
There's a certain type of person that gets attracted to crypto. someone that wants to make it big, that like tends to think that they're smarter than the average person, someone that has incredible risk tolerance. Like think about the type of person that is like willing to put on positions of this size at leverage like that, like lose 8, 10, $15 million on a on like a $2,000 like a 2.2% wick. There's and that type of person is the person that can run up an account from 8 million to 87 million. That's also the type of person that is going to lose it. And like, what is that type of person? That type of person is a degenerate gambler. Like they do it for the thrill, they do it for the ride, they do it so they can for the dopamine rush of fucking sitting at your screen, looking at every single buy and sell, and fucking looking at like the $0.1 order book and shit like that. And that's all it is. He's just a degenerate gambler, which is like, it's cool, right? Like it worked, and then it doesn't work, and maybe it'll work again, maybe it won't work again, right? Like, but like, I don't know. I would like to. I've been through this. Like I've lost. I've been on really bad runs when I didn't have money, and I lost 6 figures in like 2 days trading perps on GMX. And like I've been through this. I've been through the highs and lows. This is why I don't do this anymore. And it's so like I understand the swings and the mentality, and it's just degenerate gambling. That's all it is. Like, might as well just go
Yeah.
fucking put it like go spend $1 million on like the fucking Knicks to win tonight. Like same shit.
It's just insane, right? And I know what he does. I mean, people say he's a scammer. He's been like doing this meme coin stuff. I don't know. But I mean, let's see. This like one of the funniest guys is like he's like in this tweet. He's like he wiped out all his profits and he comments, "No crying in the casino." All right. Next, we're going to talk about the Launchpad wars. What do you guys think about Echo's new Sonar? What they launched, and how does it compare to something like Believe? And what do you guys think about the type of investors it'll attract?
I don't know too much about it. I haven't looked. I have no clue.
Okay, so wait, another question is like, do you think things like Echo and Sonar only work because Kobe is promoting them? Like, a lot of people have tried to bring this back, but like, do you think he's like the ideal man who sets the playing field and he's like, this works, try this stuff out? Is that the play?
Yes.
Launchpads are commodities, right? Like they're a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. How do you win in commodity products? You have distribution. Who has better distribution, right? Who can acquire customers and acquire quality projects at scale better than like the fucking king of crypto Twitter? Nobody. So
Yeah.
like, it's a
I
distribution.
think to KG's point,
game is
Sonar will
commodity.
see. Yeah, for sure. I think to KG's point, Sonar will see with the Plasma ICO, and we'll see how that goes. I know we're closing up on the hour. Last thing I do want to talk about is, I touched on virtuals a little bit. Are you guys actively looking into the virtuals ecosystem? How do you guys feel about that right now? It's at about what, 2.2 right now? I do think it goes up to like 10 from here. That's like the initial thesis from when it dipped from 5. But is there anything else interesting happening there after Genesis?
I want to hear, what do you guys think about it? I have my thoughts.
Yeah,
I'm pretty active.
yeah, I think the main reason why this whole run up is happening is they have redesigned or kind of made this curation of new AI agents and new projects where people are getting in at low, very entry level, and all these things are getting oversubscribed, and you see so many projects doing 50x's, 60x's, and everyone is turning like $30 or $40 into $1,000. And what's that doing is you have to lock your virtuals to be eligible to get that allocation or whatever, and you have to stake your virtuals, and this kind of demand for to be participating of these sales, everyone is piling in on virtuals and locking their thing and staking it. I think right now it's like the next they have this working point system as well, so you have to stake and you have to get these points, allocate your points to sales and get allocation and then buy. But there hasn't been like big runner. I think one of it launched today called SOLACE, it ran to I think around
That was
50
crazy.
million. Yeah, that
That was
was
crazy.
crazy. Like it was just so unexpected. I was like, I didn't get subscription, but that is something I'm watching as well. But it has the
And
best high time frame.
that's the only, I think, that's the only Genesis sale that I didn't participate in. Like that was, I feel very stupid about that. Like I participated in like I like I had like 100 or 150,000. I think 150,000 allocation. Not 150,000 points. So I got like 500 or 400 virtual allocation in. What is it? But what is the last big one? I forgot which one was it. The sports thing. The book. What is it called?
Yeah.
The sports one. I forgot. Bookie. And that ran up to like 8-9 mil or something like that, and then and I had like a decent size allocation there. So I think, but like, how do you exit this shit? Like, it's a proper Ponzi. Like, you cannot exit it.
Yeah, I think most of it is
Like you make.
people who are. Yeah, it's like a game of it's like that Tia meme where all are airdrops, but in reality for virtuals, you are actually getting those kind of airdrops. Like all these early people who staked and have these insane number of points. Every week I'm seeing on the timeline like they're getting 2K, 3K and they're selling at the top. There's no big runner or big thing happening. It's all like speculation and there's no like solid things coming out. But just from charts, I think it looks like one of the best high time frame charts out there right now, like from an altcoin perspective. Uh, but yeah. All right, I think we are coming to a close. We have this section we wanted to try out, asking what did you do on chain this week? I mean, not saying trading on Hyperliquid, but what do you guys explore on chain this week? Anything that you want to shout out?
I was mostly in the virtual trenches. Like, yeah, I was mostly on virtual, and of course HyperEVM, managing my positions.
Yeah.
What about you,
Yeah, I
Ishan?
played with the Hyper. Yeah, I played with the HyperEVM. I'm a big Hyper fun guy. Big fans of the team, the Hyper team. And then yeah, been in the launch coin trenches, trying to see if there's anything that's going to run there. Has not gone very well. Might need to switch to the virtual trenches.
Yeah, I think that brings us to a close. This was awesome. I'm super excited for like our weekly roundup, and I think we'll have more to talk about next week. What happens? Yeah, super excited for this. Thank you so much, guys. Peace.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.